The mirror doesn't lie, but sometimes I wish it would. Standing there in my boxers at 35, I see the same face that stared back at me for decades. Beard thick as winter moss, shoulders broad enough to carry the weight of other people's expectations. But underneath, in the quiet spaces between heartbeats, lives a different truth. My name is Jacob, and I've been keeping secrets since I was 7 years old. It started with my mother's silk scarf. I remember the way it felt against my skin, smooth as water, soft as whispered prayers. I wrapped it around my shoulders while she hung laundry outside, and for those stolen moments, something inside me settled into place. Something that had been restless and searching finally found its home. The years passed like pages turning. High school came and went, college too, and still that quiet hunger lived in my chest. I learned to hide it well, to be the man everyone expected. Played football, dated girls, grew a beard that made my father proud. But late at night, when the house slept around me, I'd dream of silk and satin, of flowing skirts and the gentle sway of fabric against bare legs. When I turned 18, the internet opened like a door I'd been searching for all my life. Online shopping meant privacy, meant packages arriving when parents weren't home. My first dress was simple, navy blue with tiny white flowers, nothing fancy. But when I slipped it over my head in the darkness of my bedroom, the world shifted on its axis. I tried to stop. God, how I tried. I'd box up the clothes, promise myself this was the last time, swear I'd be normal. But the urge always returned, stronger than before, like a tide that couldn't be held back by human hands. College brought new freedom and new shame. I had a dorm room to myself junior year, and my collection grew. A red dress for confidence, a flowing skirt for those days when I needed to feel graceful, delicate lingerie that made me feel beautiful in ways I couldn't explain to anyone, not even myself. The night I met Christina changed everything. She was studying psychology, had eyes that seemed to see through all my carefully constructed walls. We talked until dawn about identity and authenticity, about the masks we wear and the people we really are underneath. I almost told her then, almost let the words spill out like water from a broken dam, but fear held my tongue, and I swallowed the truth back down. We married 3 years later. She wore white silk that day, and I wondered if she knew how much I envied the way the fabric moved around her. Our wedding night was tender, sweet, but even in her arms, I felt the familiar ache of incompleteness. It took me 2 years to tell her. 2 years of stolen moments, of clothes hidden in the back of closets, of driving to empty parking lots just to sit in my car wearing a dress and feeling whole. The confession came out clumsy and broken, while she sat on our bed folding laundry. I wear women's clothes sometimes, I said, the words falling like stones into still water. Have since I was young. I'm not gay. I'm not. I don't want to be a woman. I need this. Christina's hands stilled on the towel she was folding. The silence stretched between us like a bridge I wasn't sure would hold our weight. How often? She asked finally, her voice carefully neutral. More than I should. More than you'd want. She set the towel aside, looked at me with those psychology student eyes. Show me. My heart hammered against my ribs. What? Show me. Let me see who you are when you're being yourself. I disappeared into the bathroom, hands shaking as I slipped into the emerald dress I'd bought online the month before. The mirror reflected someone I recognized but rarely let exist, softer around the edges, more graceful, more me. When I stepped back into the bedroom, Christina's expression was unreadable. You look... She started, then stopped. Different. Peaceful. I feel it, I whispered. I feel like myself. That was 5 years ago. We have 3 beautiful children now, and Christina loves me in the complicated way that real love works, not despite my differences, but including them. She doesn't always understand, sometimes gets frustrated when I spend too long looking at dresses online or when I disappear for evening drives wearing skirts. But she tries, and that's more than I ever dared hope for. The real turning point came last spring. I was at the grocery store, dressed as Jacob, the husband and father, when I saw him. Tall, dark-haired, with kind eyes and paint-stained fingers. He was studying the organic vegetables with the same intensity one usually reserved for fabric swatches. The heirloom tomatoes are better, I said, not sure why I was talking to a stranger. He looked up, smiled. You sound like you know your way around a kitchen. My wife says I'm better at cooking than she is. Lucky woman. He extended his hand. I'm Jonathan. Jacob. We talked for 20 minutes. He was an artist, had just moved to town, was looking for good coffee and better friends. Something about him felt safe, familiar, like coming home after a long journey. I didn't mean for it to happen. Didn't plan to start meeting him for coffee. Didn't intend to tell him about the part of myself I kept hidden. But Jonathan had a way of listening that made secrets feel lighter, made shame seem unnecessary. The evening I finally showed him who I really was, we were at his studio apartment. He'd been painting all day, had specks of blue in his hair and on his hands. I'd brought wine, told Christina I was having dinner with a friend. It wasn't exactly a lie. I need to tell you something, I said, the words familiar now but still difficult. About who I am. He set down his paintbrush, gave me his full attention. Okay. I'm not just the man you see. There's another part of me. A part that needs to wear dresses, to feel beautiful, to be soft sometimes. Jonathan was quiet for a long moment. Then, do you want to show me? I hadn't brought anything with me, hadn't planned this. But he disappeared into his bedroom, came back with a flowing sundress, yellow as summer sunshine. My sister left this here months ago, he said. Never came back for it. My hands trembled as I took the dress. In his small bathroom, I transformed. The yellow fabric fell to just below my knees, the neckline modest but feminine. When I looked in the mirror, I saw myself, really saw myself, for the first time in Jonathan's presence. I stepped out nervous, vulnerable. He was sitting on his paint-splattered couch, waiting. Beautiful, he said simply. You're beautiful. Something broke open in my chest. Or maybe something finally healed. I started to cry, and he stood, pulled me into his arms. We held each other in the golden light of his living room, and I felt more myself than I had in years. I love my wife, I whispered against his shoulder. I know, he said. That doesn't change this. We kissed then, soft and careful, like two people discovering a new language. His hands found the small of my back, traced the line of the dress's zipper. I felt feminine and desired, felt the particular magic of being wanted as exactly who I was. We made love slowly, tenderly, with the dress pulled around my waist and his fingers gentle on my skin. It wasn't about sex as much as it was about recognition, about being seen and accepted and cherished. When we finished, we lay tangled together, him tracing patterns on my bare shoulder. What happens now? I asked. I don't know, he said. But I'm not going anywhere. That was 3 months ago. Christina knows about Jonathan now, knows about the complicated shape our love has taken. She's hurt and confused and trying to understand. Some days are harder than others. Some nights she cries, and I hold her, and we both wonder if love is enough to carry us through this. But I'm done hiding. Done pretending that the man everyone expects me to be is the only person I can be. I wear dresses to Jonathan's studio now, cook dinner in skirts, paint my nails on quiet Sunday afternoons. I'm learning to be whole, to be authentic, to be exactly who I am. The mirror still doesn't lie. But now, when I look into it, I see someone I recognize completely, beard and broad shoulders and all, but also soft and graceful and unafraid. I see Jacob in all his complicated, beautiful truth. And that's enough. That's everything.